Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Andrew, and this is the ExtraAmo channel. Today we're going to talk about the BOOMBOX by Q, and maybe even also the HONEYBADGER by Q. Let's get into it. Okay, so what is the Q BOOMBOX? It's really kind of an AR-10, but made by Q for, or I guess along with, the 8.6 Blackout cartridge. It's got a bunch of proprietary stuff in it, proprietary stock, proprietary metals here, and, as I will mention in a bit, proprietary handguard. One of the cool things, though, about this cartridge, even though it is significantly bigger than 300 Blackout, is that it remains very, very quiet, as you can tell from the no hearing protection. Let's shoot it. Neat. Okay, so since I've got both of these here loaded and ready, I figured a comparison shot between the BOOMBOX and the HONEYBADGER would be pretty cool. And I guess because camera angles, I will shoot it lefty as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'll shoot at this target here. That'll be good. Whew. Whew. Good stuff. And now for the HONEYBADGER. Nice. Let's go see how I did. Obviously, these two rifles are ambidextrous, so you can shoot them lefty. Might not be able to shoot them well lefty. I certainly might not be able to shoot them well lefty. But if I've hit the target more often than not, I'll take it as a win. All right, so definitely whiffed a couple of them, but 35 or so yards, it seems like I can hit the target. Okay, so here we are at 50 yards. What I'm going to do is shoot a 5-round group to give you an idea of how this new 8.6 thing groups. I've put one of my fancier bipods on here so that we can try to get it as close to perfect as possible. Let's see how she does. Cool. Now we'll go downrange. Now, 8.6, being that it is much bigger than 300 Blackout, it allows for it to be used as a hunting cartridge in ways that 300 maybe can't. In fact, there are a ton of claims that this, being that it is heavier and has rotational velocity, I guess, is able to take down things like Cape Buffalo, which is very, very cool. But whereas 300 Blackout is really a up-close personal defense weapon cartridge, 8.6, as a hunting cartridge, I would think you'd want to be able to reach out further. Now, it looks like I've got a really great group here. Maybe there's some flyers, but this actually is a repeat of what I saw earlier, which is that no matter what I'm using for ammo, I'm getting a spread about yay big. Now, if we go look at this is my spread with just like basic 300 Blackout ammo I shot from the HONEYBADGER earlier. Much smaller. So the hunting ammo, big group. The short range personal defense ammo, tiny group. So we've got some problems, and we'll talk about it. Hello again. Apologies for the costume change. I ran out of light last night, and so I have to finish up here this morning. Start right off with the HONEYBADGER. Now, this is the kit that comes with both the SBR and the can itself. So actually, this is the HONEYBADGER can and the HONEYBADGER rifle, which is kind of cool. It's the same model. Right, at the front here, we do have the titanium can and then an M-LOK handguard. Now, first few sections of M-LOK aren't super usable because the can takes up that space, but the rest of it, you could add plenty of accessories. I haven't added anything to this, nor do I really want to, because this area here gets really, really hot when you shoot it. So you have to remind yourself to grab back here, or what do we say? That's a self-correcting mistake, right? That's one of those things you're going to realize you did, and you're going to stop doing it real fast. Moving backwards, though, we do have the clear anodized upper and lower that Q is, I would guess, say famous for at this point. And up here, I've got a Reptilium mount on top, a Trijicon SRO. Now, I did have to order the Reptilium mount from the Q website because that's the only way to get the clear anodized version. And I did that, and it still doesn't match, which is kind of a bummer, but I mean, what can you do? Now, onto the receiver itself. Now, they use a sort of special form of aluminum, at least. They say that that lets them skeletonize it or otherwise lighten it a little bit further. And that process seems to work because this is, I mean, incredibly light, which is awesome considering what it is and what it can do. Now, one of the other things that they've made that's special is the bolt and then buffer system. Proprietary, there's a shortness to this that makes it work and cycle properly. Speaking of the buffer system, back here we've got the stock. It's really, really cool looking, very neat in that it can collapse and extend. Only one position on this guy. And this one has a sling QD point, which is useful. Beyond that, we've got the Q trigger. That's the literally the best trigger is what they call it. And it's fine. And right here we have their also sort of proprietary Radian Talon. The normal Radian Talon comes with a barrel that you can swap out, so it's either 90 degrees or 45 degrees. This one is just a way cooler 60 degrees. So remember, guys, if you buy a Q, your safety's a little different, and it makes you a little more popular, obviously. But beyond that, I haven't done much other than the optic to this gun because it's kind of just good on its own. As for the boombox, I've got the boombox itself, short-barreled rifle here with the Q PORQ CHOP can. Now that's one of the cans they recommend to go with this. And underneath here, I've added an Arca rail. Now I had to do it a special way on account of this handguard here is Q's proprietary Q cert, which is kind of like this embedded thread system. If I didn't get this particular adapter for free from my Q rep, I would be pretty annoyed. It's really, really odd that they would choose in 2024, 2025, when they developed this, to go away from what basically everyone in the industry is doing, which is the M-LOK. I understand some of the on-paper benefits to this, but it's just begs the question of what they were thinking. Moving backwards, I have a Sig Sauer Romeo 4T optic on a Unity riser. This time I didn't opt for the matching clear anodization because, as I mentioned, it's not going to match anyway, so hey, why not go with this? Now, here we still have the clear anodized receiver, which again has been lightened, which is cool. This is definitely the lightest AR-10 I have ever held, which is something to be impressed by for sure. Also, the Q, literally whatever trigger, and that same safety. But then we move back here and we have another proprietary recoil system, which is functional, definitely works, but ooh, what are we missing? The QD attachment for the sling, which is kind of a pain. So even though this came out years after the HONEYBADGER, we've got questionable decisions on the handguard, and now I can't even attach my sling to it, which is unfortunate. Now, what do I like about these guns? Obviously, they're super, super lightweight, which I think, I mean, it's an achievement in and of itself. Very, very cool. And this one works very, very well, and is, as we saw earlier, definitely an effective accuracy level. But I like the ability to use a weapon system for what it was designed for. This is up close, very quiet, super neat. This one's obviously, you know, at least from what they marketed as, more for the hunting scene. Now, I did see a customer come into our shop. They had shot a moose last year with 8.6 Blackout. And it was actually really cool because the projectile, which I believe is the same projectile I'm using here, had mushroomed out and it was very effective. Now, I don't think they were using a boombox, so I don't know what barrel like they were using or any of that, but it seems like in terms of effective hunting cartridges, it definitely is that. But the accuracy things, well, that concerns me. I'm definitely concerned about the accuracy level of this guy, especially at range. Now, I could try different ammos, but you gotta remember here, I'm using their can, I'm using their rifle, I'm using the Gorilla ammunition they recommend, and it's still not grouping. Now, in further analysis of my groups, it seems like I get rounds that go sort of to the left and group really well, and then some that go to the right and don't group that well at all. And looking at my previous groups, it seems to me that maybe what's happening is as they feed the rounds from the right, this big old huge projectile inside here is maybe getting marred. And then maybe when it feeds from the left, that is not getting marred the same way. So perhaps there's something wrong with the chamber here, how it's feeding or feed ramps. I'm not sure. And I can definitely take a look inside here. Maybe I'll be able to work it out. Maybe there's a burr. Now, just by eye, I didn't see anything like that, so I don't think I'm going to be able to resolve that problem that way. But for a rifle of this price, I definitely shouldn't have to be like, you know, cleaning up the chamber before I shoot it. So there's that. Now, I do like that these are super lightweight. I really do. And I like how cool this stock is. And on the 300 Blackout, not being able to get a proper cheek weld and really kind of like sit into this thing because it's not solid isn't an issue. On this guy, it becomes an issue really fast. And there's the trigger. When you shoot this gun, bang, right? And then you allow it to reset. There's almost no tactile reset. And if you're, you know, like me, and you like feeling that reset to know when you need to shoot again, when you've actually, you know, made the trigger able to fire next, this is literally the worst trigger ever. Or I guess maybe I should say literally the worst reset ever. It's certainly a very light trigger, but I feel like I have to slap the trigger, completely release my trigger finger, basically, to then come back, find that wall, reprep it, and then fire again. That's bad. That's really, really bad. So I don't love that. But do I regret buying these guys? No, not now. I definitely think that this, I need to figure out what's going on in terms of accuracy, but even still, I've got, you know, fist-sized group at 50 yards. If I was to try to take something bigger, like, say, a moose, inside of that range, I'd be confident that this could handle the job. And that's just fun. 300 Blackout suppressed is awesome. So I don't hate these, but if I had bought this thinking, all right, cool, this is going to be my hunting gun this year, I'm going to be able to reach out 150 yards, 200 yards, and I mean, if you go online, you can see the claims of 8.6 Blackout going, stabilizing at 300, you know, all of these things. If I had planned on that being my use case for this rifle, I'd be pretty bummed out. And if I was shooting these all day or needing to be more precise reach out there, I'd probably have to swap out the stocks. And actually, I know somebody who just went through the process of doing that on their HONEYBADGER. But the issue is then you have to swap out the bolt carrier group and you have to change it to a different buffer, and then you lose a lot of the weight savings that makes Q so awesome. So takeaway here should really be, if you like it as it is and what you're looking for is just something that shoots really hard or, you know, shoots really quiet, these are great choices. They are. But at the price point, I really wish they would check all the boxes. I think the trigger needs some work. I do not think that having a proprietary throw lever is really valuable in any way, because if you're coming from another gun where you're used to the 45 or the 90, this is just going to be weird. It's just weird. I don't see the benefits. Now, projectiles themselves. I was shooting the Guerrilla Ammunition 342 grain, they call it Punisher series subsonic expansion. Very, very cool. And I actually collected up a few of these that mushroomed out when I hit targets, and they're neat looking. According to my ballistic calculator, this has approximately 600 foot-pounds of energy, at least at the muzzle, which is definitely a step up from the 220 grain 300 Blackout that's got 450 foot-pounds, thereabouts, of energy at the muzzle. So there is a reason to go to this over the 300 Blackout model. But considering this is twice, 3 times as expensive or more than the 300 Blackout, which is already a fairly expensive cartridge, I don't see justification. And I don't think that anybody is going to be switching to this weapons platform for main shooting that doesn't have military budget or, you know, some sort of specialized purpose that absolutely justifies it. Now, as I mentioned before, somebody came into our shop having taken a moose with this, and it seemed to be fairly effective. Now, that is something you absolutely would struggle, I should say, to do with 300 Blackout. So it's cool that it can do that. And I've seen some other videos on the internet, like Grand Thumb, to mention one, where it seems like the ballistics of this are very, very impressive. And that's exciting, but I think it needs it needs a Gen 2. They really need to put an M-LOK rail on here. They really need to put that style stock on here. And I think really just get to the point where this is an established round enough and that everyone kind of knows how the geometries work, that maybe when you get the recommended ammo, the recommended gun, and the recommended can, you can get those tighter groups and really reach out there. For now, I'm happy with it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Andrew. This is the Extra Ammo channel, and thank you for coming to my Lead Talk.